Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News live from our studio here at Adesawe in Accra. This is 3FM 92.7. Coming up for the next 30 minutes, 6 business associations petitioned Parliament to block the laying of the controversial bill set to restrict importation of selected items into the country. We have details, plus take you live to Parliament to find out what's happening today. Also coming up, management of the Tema Oil Refinery fights off claims planned agreement to lease off its facilities is not in the interest of the state. We have details plus reactions from the workers. And later in the bulletin, Mortuary Workers Association of Ghana to go ahead with their planned nationwide strike on Wednesday, despite backdoor engagements with government. My name is Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Details of all these stories and more right in the jiffy. Thank you for staying with us. Let's settle for the details now. And do get interactive with us. We'll be happy to hear your thoughts on the stories we have for you this afternoon. 6 business associations likely to be affected by the import restrictions bill have petitioned Parliament proposing a rejection of the legislative instrument, the LI. The Joint Business Consultative Forum, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, FABAG, Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, the Chamber of Automobile Dealership Ghana, and the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry maintain that the bill, if passed, will have detrimental effects on their businesses. The petition further noted that the legislation could have adverse effect on prices of goods, disrupt the free flow of goods, and potentially harm businesses. In a jiffy, we'll be speaking to the vice chair, I should say, of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, who are part of this group of institutions who have decided to petition Parliament on this LI. Let's go to the phone lines now. Joining us is Clement Boateng, the first vice chair of the Ghana Union of Traders Association. Mr. Boateng, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on 3FM.
Yeah, Martin, good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
To start with, what is the petition by your group exactly seeking to achieve? Is it a total ban on or a total ban on the importation restriction bill? Like it shouldn't be passed at all or considered at all?
Good afternoon to your listeners once more, and thank you for having me. Yeah, if you look at the tail end of our petition, we have stated that it is very important to note that we are committed to working with government towards any strategy to increase the production, processing, packaging, and marketing of these 22 items to conserve foreign exchange and improve our balance of trade position. We can together build a 5 to 10 year roadmap for the reduction of imports and consequently increase local production of these items. So we are not, against this policy being implemented or being introduced by the government. But we think the way and manner government is, implementing this policy by not exhausting, all avenues, by not engaging in further discussion with the stakeholders, it's not the best. If you look at the bill, there are a lot of issues, that has to be, talk about. For instance, before you qualify for the import permit, it says that you must have a valid order with a seller. That means a seller must contact you for you to place the order, and you must show evidence of that to the committee before you can be able, before the license, will be granted to you. You see, so the Minister of Trade granting of the license is at the whims and caprices of the Minister of Trade. And for one person, to decide who brings import and at when we think it is not in the best interest of the country.
Okay.
And that is the reason why we have, petitioned Parliament to do something about the whole bill.
Let's also consider this. So, is it that none of these groups, the six of your of the groupings, none of you were consulted or spoken to by government before this final decision was made to to restrict some of the things you import?
Yes, we were called for a meeting, I think about 6 months ago. And on that meeting, government's intention or government's intent was made known to us that government has in the pipeline of bringing this restriction. And so government made its intent to us at that meeting that we had about 6-7 months ago. So we thought once government has made its intent or its intention to it, there will be subsequent or there will be further, discussions so that we all will come to an amicable, solution, or we all will come to a middle ground for maybe the smooth implementation of the bill. But after that meeting, about 6-7 months ago, we haven't heard anything from government, and lo and behold, this bill has been put before the subsidiary and legislation committee of Parliament to be considered, which we think it is not in the best interest. Meeting us once and making your intent known to us, does not suggest that we have agreed to your suggestion, and so therefore we can go ahead and put the bill before Parliament.
Right. And in concluding this conversation, certainly we'll be engaging you further in the coming days. But for now, you've petitioned Parliament. It's been received, I'm sure. What are your expectations from the House?
Yeah, so we are expecting that, Parliament should act quickly on it and impress upon government, to engage us for further discussion. So they must halt the discussion of the bill. We shouldn't be in a position that we'll be in a hurry to pass this bill. Otherwise, what will happen in the business community wouldn't be a pleasant situation at all. They must halt it and engage us further until we all arrive at an amicable solution.
Mr. Boateng, thank you so much for your time. Clement Boateng is the first vice chair of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, which is part of a 6-member stakeholder group who are asking Parliament to suspend the acceptance or consideration of the restriction bill, which we are told is very likely to be laid before the House today. But has it? Let's find out from Komla Kluche, who's joined us now. Komla, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. So I'm sure that it's been quite topical. You're in the House of Parliament. Has the bill or the consideration of the bill come up at all?
Martin, it's been stood down just as it's been listed on the order paper. There's some understanding between the majority side and the minority side that it should go through further consideration. We've had a lot of petitions to the Speaker regarding this, and so there's a need for them to be able to do broader consultation. And even though it's been listed on the order paper, they are not going to be able to take it. They will not be laid today because they believe that some broader consultation is needed on this. So today, once again, the export and import restrictions on importation of selected strategic products regulation 2023, as captured on the order paper F, will not be taken.
All right. And so, Komla, what else is expected in the House today?
What has been happening is that the president has come under fire for his inability to sign the criminal amendment bill, what we call the witchcraft bill, and the president has not been able to assent to, even though the House passed it in the second meeting of this Parliament. Both the Speaker, the former minority leader, Martin Asiedu-Dartey, and then other members of the House have been lashing out at the president for his inability to, so to speak, assent to the bill without any recourse or explanation to Parliament. The Speaker makes the point that the president only said he needed to have a meeting with him. The law does not state that he should have a meeting with him, but he should issue out in a memorandum why he would not assent to it or why he has assented to it and all of that. The president has not done that. the majority in one breath has been trying to justify this, indicating that the president has not been around and it's the reason it hasn't been done. But as it is now, well, it's been withdrawn. The president has not assented to it. They indeed have seen some anomalies in the bill, but the speaker said they needed to have had a memorandum from the president indicating why he was not going to sign it. That was not done.
That was not done. All right. Finally and briefly, Komla, we know that this is the final week for the budget debate. Has that also commenced?
That does not happen. It's yet to go on, though.
Thank you so much. Komla Kluche, parliamentary correspondent, updating us on developments in the House. And in subsequent bulletins, we'll get to know what then happens to the import-export restriction bill, which is, he said, has been stood down as of now. Let's do politics now. The New Patriotic Party is getting ready to elect parliamentary candidates in orphan constituencies on the 2nd of December, which is next week, Saturday. These are constituencies where the NPP does not have a sitting member of parliament. Let's speak to Duke Mensah Opoku, who has been monitoring what the party has been doing. We know that some vetting took place. Duke joins us in studio. So good afternoon, Duke. Thank you for joining us. How many orphan constituencies are we looking at for the NPP?
So as we speak, the NPP has 138 orphan constituencies, 137 being seats that are held by the NDC and one seat being held by the independent candidate, who's the second deputy speaker. So in all, there are 138 constituencies that are orphan constituencies for the NPP. But this election will take place in constituencies other than 6. So there are 6 constituencies that where the NPP will not have elections on Saturday. So that includes constituencies such as Fomena, Jomoro, Akachi North, Ketu, and the rest. These are places where the NPP, for some reasons, legal and others, will not have elections on Saturday. But apart from that, there are places where it's only one person who is contesting, so that would just be an acclamation. But there are others where there is a heated contest for the slot of who would be the parliamentary candidate going into the 2024 election, where they are hoping to reclaim some of these seats.
So beyond those few that are not going to be having the elections, vetting has taken place in all other constituencies.
All the constituencies. In fact, just on Friday there was some supplementary guidelines were issued as to how the elections are going to be conducted. So the issue of vetting has been sorted out. Was completed about 2 weeks or so ago.
And what are some of the key contests that we should be looking out for? Are there specific areas of interest that you think people should pay particular attention to?
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at the areas that are of interest, the interest could be categorized into 2. One based on the personalities who are contesting for the ticket, and then also the margins by which the NPP lost that seat in the last election. So, for instance, in Lejokuku, that is Teshia and its environs, the NPP lost that seat by less than 2,000 votes. In fact, the incumbent then, Bernard Okoboy, lost the seat to Benaiku by 1,866 votes. He's making a comeback, but he's facing stiff opposition from Collins Ni, Ashite Olenu, Clifford Matekole, and Ibrahim Sowaje. Ibrahim Ajay is a name that should ring a bell. Long-time communicator of the NPP and now works at the Jubilee House. So he's promised to give Okoboy a good run for his money. Let's go to Okaikwe North, a very interesting constituency where you have 6 aspirants. Now, 6 of them. Now, what makes this interesting is you have a former MP. Until recently, until the last election, the NPP since 96 had not lost the seat. It was always, so more or less, people thought Okaikwe North was a safe seat for the NPP, but they lost it in 2020. And the man who lost it, and that is Fusaini Issa, he's making a comeback. He's hoping to clinch it again, but he's facing competition from Lawrence Anyete Ajay Samuel. He's facing competition from another MP, a sitting MP. What makes it interesting is that she's a sitting MP in the Eastern region. She's decided not to contest over there again.
Eastern region. Okay.
That's Equiapim North. She's not contesting again, but rather pitching camp in Okaikwe North.
Wow.
Yes, that is Nanama Dokua Siameji. Yes, Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry. Yeah. So she's contesting there. There's also Efiakutu, Alberta Efiakutu Osumaniwa, that is Deputy Head of the Maslock. And then there's Ken Crunchy, the lawyer who recently took former President Mahama to court, and he's been contesting Okakwe North for a very long time. Okakwe North is Akwetema, Nabofu, and it's parts of Achimota, that area. Okay. So that is it. Then you have Adenta. Interesting Adenta. Adenta is the constituency where there is a one-term MP jinx. There's no MP since the formation, since the carving out of that constituency in 2004, who has gone to Parliament twice. So yes, so they lost that. Yabuamia, someone interesting who's been ostracized from the party, lost the seat in 2020 to Ramadan. Ramadan has already won NDC primary, seeking to make a comeback, but he will be facing competition from whoever wins, and it's a straight fight between Kwesi Obin Fusu, who is PRO at the Energy Ministry, popularly called Baba Tofik, and Akosi Amenu of the National Youth Authority.
Okay, thank you very much, Duke Mensah Opoku. Would definitely be keeping an eye on this as well, whilst the NPP prepares to go to the polls on Saturday, the 2nd of December 2023. Still in the camp of the NPP, though, it appears the cracks within the party is deepening. This afternoon, a volunteer group in the Ashanti region have begun mounting pressure on Kennedy Ejapong. Their request is that he should go independent. According to the group, Mr. Ejapong's popularity at the grassroots puts him in a better position to become the next leader of the country. The Sin Central MP lost to Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in the recent NPP presidential primary. William Evans Inkum joins us with details of what exactly these members are calling for. William, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I mean, beyond the fact that he is popular, what else do they say sets him apart and would make him the president?
Well, they think that Kennedy Ejapong he wasn't given a fair treatment during November 4 presidential primaries by the ruling NPP. According to them, that particular primary was fraught with irregularities, and that matter, it cannot be a true reflection of what the people really want. In fact, they are also claiming that they are hearing that Kennedy Ejapong is likely to be appointed a running mate to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and they have stated categorically that they do not want Kennedy Ejapong to accept if what they are hearing is true. So, for instance, and I just want to quote exactly what they said. It is also rumored that they want to appoint you as a running mate of His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. We then again want to plead with you not to accept it because they only see you as the only determining factor to their victory and not what you can offer to Ghanaians. So they believe that Kennedy Ejapong is very popular among Ghanaians, and he is likely to win the 2024 elections if he goes solo. Martin.
Okay. And still on the back of that, and maybe briefly for us, what does the NPP generally make of it? Are they a breakaway from the party, or they want to remain in the NPP but ask Ken to stand as an independent candidate?
So from the look of things, they want to break away from the party because now the ruling party has elected a flag bearer in the shape of Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. So if they are insistent that Kennedy Ejapong should be the right person to lead the party, I'm not pretty sure that they want executive of the party or the election committee of the party to hold another primary and then elect Kennedy or Ejapong once they've done that. So they want to break away, and of course, it looks like they're already out of the party. They want their candidate to also join them.
All right, thank you very much. William Evans Inkum joining us from the Ashanti region with the update of a group that is within the NPP asking Ken Ejapong, who could not make it as flag bearer of the NPP, to stand as an independent candidate. Well, we'll see what the party's reaction will be after sacking 4 butterflies a few days ago. Would they also consider some disciplinary action against this group? Or what would the reaction of Ken Ejapong himself be? Trust your election command center to keep you posted on all the developments. Let's go on to the Tema Oil Refinery, because this afternoon, the management of TOR is fighting off claims that it is entering into an agreement that is not in the interest of the company. The Tema Oil Refinery maintains it will receive in excess of $170 million from its lease agreement with the Tema Energy and Processing Limited, TEPL. The deal has been heavily criticized by energy analysts, with the Attorney General being the latest to describe the company as lacking a track record and the capacity to implement the project. The management of Tor has been responding and hitting back at the workers, accusing them of engaging in baseless arguments and insulting attacks. Let's go to the phone lines now and speak to George Queening, who has been also interacting with a number of the workers, even ahead of this statement that was released by the management of Tor. George, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Martin.
What exactly are the workers saying? So clearly this is management of Tor versus the workers of Tor, and it is because of the sale or lease of Tor. What exactly have they been saying?
Yeah, Martin. So I engaged the national chairman of the General Transport, Petroleum and Chemical Workers Union of PUC. And they represent Tor. They supervise about 76 companies, the GMPC, the so when they speak, it means that they're speaking for the workers. So for them, the fact that there has been this continuous change by the strategic partner should raise a red flag. That's number one. And the fact that the board of directors are still pursuing a deal which is not going to benefit the company or even Ghana, but just the interest of some selected few, is another red flag. And also, for them, there was no need for them to even come and react to the concerns raised by the Attorney General and that of the Office of the Solicitor for Justice. And also, it said that they would make sure they address the concerns of the AG in their final due diligence. What that means is, according to the chairman, is that they've admitted to failure. What that means is they've never done their due diligence, but they're still trying to support a strategic partner who has no interest for the country, and they have no knowledge about the oil industry. And so these are not the right people to restore or revive Tor.
All right. And George, so kindly hold on. Let's listen to some of what these workers have been saying as regards this particular development.
Okay.
These are people with a very reputable track records. I don't know whether in the industry or where, but I can say on authority that these people don't deserve to be even what you call class one teachers. Simply put, you've been asked to come and steer the affairs of the refinery for the past 2.5 years now. You've not been able to secure a strategic partner, but all that you seek to do is to bring in a company with a very questionable character. And from day one, they've changed their name from Decimal Capital to Bay Bridge, now Torenco, and now Tema Energy Processing Company Limited. What at all do the board of Tor looking for? Are they looking for a strategic partner, or they are looking for something that will be beneficial to themselves? And where we sit, we think that this board, their interest is not with the country, but they are doing their own bidding. And the ordinary Ghanaian should not allow these things to happen.
Well, George, they say the ordinary Ghanaian should not let this happen. So what's the next line of action for these workers? It looks like the management and leadership and the board have taken an entrenched position. What do they intend to do next?
And they're not barging. For them, in subsequent days, they'll come up with a press conference. But before that, they'll make sure that they continue to expose the lies, the deceit by the board of directors. That's how far they can go with that. And like I mentioned, they will not badge. This is not a good deal according to them. So government should intervene and come up with a reliable strategic partner, and not from the board.
Thank you very much, George Queening, who has been trying to figure out what exactly is going on at Tor, trying to get both sides of the story as the management and board are standing with the TPLE, which is the company that wants to take over Tor in the terms of a lease. But then the workers say it does not have the locus to do that. The Attorney General has also come out with a statement to say the company does not have the necessary capacity to handle what Tor does as a refinery institution. Some civil society bodies in the oil and gas space have also criticized this particular company. But as it stands now, it's a clear fight between the board and the staff and civil society. Would keep very close tabs on this, and then in subsequent bulletins update you on the way forward. This is still 3FM 92.7. We're going on to some other stories now. A Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Her Ladyship Henrietta Mensah Bonsu, has challenged the African regional bodies, that's the African Union, the ECOWAS, to adopt country-specific frameworks for peace building. According to her, the straitjacket approach by these bodies have become outmoded and not deterrent enough and does not yield any results. She was speaking at a conference on sustainable regional peace building in Africa in the face of the increasing political crises.
And I said, General, why don't you, when there's a question and answer session, why don't you raise this so people will be aware? Because it is true that when people go to a territory, they assume everybody there is an idiot. That's why what happened has happened. What you don't know is that some terrible power players can end things that are working quite nicely. And there will be so much violence by people you don't even know that you will have to seek the help of the international community. So they are not idiots when you go into this.
We apologize for the quality of the audio, but straight to the point, let's speak to Grace, my colleague who is at this particular conference, Grace Hamwa-Agyeman. Grace, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. So that is a Justice of the Supreme Court asking for country-specific solutions when it comes to issues of security. Who are the other speakers there? What have they been saying?
Yeah, so Martin, the Supreme Court Justice is the keynote speaker at this conference. We've had other speakers also from the continent who have knowledge or expertise when it comes to peace building and then other areas. What they have been talking about is that the one-size-fits-all approach that the AU and ECOWAS have adopted over the time haven't been very effective. And so they want the AU to look for solutions that are country-specific. They agree to the fact that most of the reasons that account for these political uprisings are similar in these countries. But when you go down to the grassroots, there are specific areas that they should be looking for. The speakers here have identified 10 areas that they think the AU and ECOWAS should look at when going into peace mediation. But their top three areas are, first of the strategy or the peace mediation measure should be owned by the people themselves. AU and ECOWAS should not go in and say that because you're having political instability, we are imposing this on you. Their policy should be owned by the people themselves. That way, they are able to identify with this and implementation becomes easier. Second point is that it should also have some form of financial sustainability. We know that AU and ECOWAS, apart from the levies they take in Africa, also have a chunk of their funding coming from international bodies. And so if you are implementing a policy which does not have financial sustainability, how do you implement it with the local people when these international bodies say, okay, we are no more funding the project? The third part or the third feature they identified was political will. The speakers here said that has become the major theme to all of the issues that the continent is facing. Peace mediation or peace brokering should not exclude or should not lack political will. Politicians should have the will to want to implement whatever has been agreed on, so that one day one party does not rise up and say we don't agree to this and we want to take power from the other party.
Well, thank you very much, Grace, for that report. Grace Hamwa-Agyeman giving us an update on what's been happening at that conference on peace and security on the continent of Africa. Let's go to one of our headline stories that we have for you. And the Ministry of Health is expected to give members of the Mortuary Workers Association of Ghana a satisfactory response later today to prevent an intended strike by the workers, which they have scheduled for Wednesday, the 29th of November. Let's go to the Ashanti region now, the hub of funerals, and assess the potential impact if this strike does come off. Ibrahim Abubakar has joined us on the phone for a quick chat. Ibrahim, good afternoon. Thank you for your time. To start with, what are the mortuary workers saying? Have they had any response yet? It's past midday.
Well, Martin, we know the NLC has called them for an engagement on Wednesday And pending this engagement, they've told them to hold on with the intended strike. But they are saying no. They did not just wake up one day to issue a statement that they are going on strike. They've engaged them on series of occasions. So it is not now that they have decided to go on strike on Wednesday that they will be told not to. For them, the only thing that can change their mind is for them to see their concerns being addressed. That is the condition of service being improved, and also their 3 years arrears allowance when it comes. They call it washing allowance, and each person is entitled to 1,000 cedis in a year. So from 2019 to date, they are demanding for those monies to be released. And like you said, Kumasi is the hub of funeral, and people are really not happy with this development because definitely it's going to affect their funeral plans on weekends. In fact, on Friday, we were told a number of people trooped to the Komfanochi morgue just to be able to take their bodies of their relatives to keep them in other private mortuaries. Others are also there today just to do the same, but they are hoping that government will intervene swiftly and prevent this from happening.
All right, Ibrahim, thank you for that quick update. We'll definitely also find out by close of day what the response will be from these various stakeholders, including the Ministry of Health, on how the Mortuary Workers Association are going to be met at least halfway so they do not go on their intended strike. On the back of that, we bring the bulletin to an end. Thank you very much for listening. My name is Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Nenoafo is up next with business.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3 FM.
Hello, good afternoon. It's time for Business Daily. My name is Nenoafo. Coming up this afternoon, Bank of Ghana maintains monetary policy rate as 30%. We have the details. Plus, business community forms joint business consultative forum to kick against the legislative instrument seeking restriction on the importation of 22 selected items. We have the details of this and many more stories coming up. Stay with us. Thank you so much for your time. Straight to our first story. The Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana has held the policy rate steady at 30% again. According to Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Ernest Addison, even though a disinflation process is in motion and the outlook supports a continuous decline in inflation throughout Q4 2023, the rate is still on the high, posing some risks to the economy.
Headline inflation has continued to decelerate in the past few months, consistent with forecasts. The latest bank forecast indicates that the disinflation process is expected to continue, supported by the current tight monetary policy stance, relatively stable exchange rate, and base drift effects. All the core measures of inflation and inflation expectations are pointing downwards, and the bank will remain vigilant on risks to the disinflation process. The committee noted that although inflation is decelerating, it remains high relative to target. Therefore, there is a need to keep the policy rate tighter for longer until inflation is firmly anchored on the downward trajectory towards the medium-term target. Given these considerations, the committee decided to maintain the monetary policy rate at 30%.
You heard the voice of the governor of the central bank, Dr. Ernest Addison. To more stories now, the business community has formed a joint business consultative forum to petition Parliament against the legislative instrument seeking restriction on the importation of 22 selected items into Ghana. According to the group's co-chair, Dr. Joseph Oping, the Ghanaian economy is not self-sufficient, hence imposing these restrictions will only impede trade facilitation in the country. The following Through Business Desk report has more. The legislative instrument was proposed as a means of promoting domestic production and reducing over-reliance on imports, according to the Minister of Trade and Industry, K.T. Hammond. It seeks to restrict the importation of some 22 selected items, including rice, sugar, diapers, animal intestines, among others. The business community, however, strongly opposed the LI, adding that efforts to get information regarding timelines set and plans to increase local production have failed.
What are the timelines that you are providing for us to attain the self-sufficiency? That has not been provided. So, for instance, wanted to know that maybe the year 1 after this implementation will be able to increase rice production to 600,000 metric tons. The year 2 will go 800. Up to the 6th year, we should be able to attain self-sufficiency because of the measures that you have adopted and all that. It should not be seen that you are just going to give us the permit in perpetuity.
The forum is therefore appealing to Parliament to reject the legislative instrument, to allow proper consultations and dialogue to take place, as it would not benefit the economy to impose such restrictions when the country has not attained self-sufficiency. The forum cites potential price hikes caused by restricted competition, exacerbation of smuggling situation, and potential shortages as some reasons for their opposition. That was a Through Business Desk report. Away from that, Ghana's cedi has taken a significant hit, depreciating 25.8% against the US dollar by November 2023. While the currency enjoyed relative stability between March and September, October and November saw a gradual decline, with the depreciation rate accelerating from 22.1% in March to 25.8% in November. The cedi's recent struggles can be attributed to increased demand for US dollars from businesses and importers preparing for the upcoming holiday season. Despite efforts by the Bank of Ghana, such as providing $20 million to bulk oil distribution companies and $2 million on the spot market, these interventions have been unable to halt the cedi's weakening trend. And that brings us to the end of Business Daily. My name is Minuafo. Black Rasta will soon join us with Urban Blend.